think about it, white guy, undersized, from Oregon. Now I know Portland is a hotbed, Seattle is a hotbed for talent in basketball, but on paper, someone would be like, no, I'm not giving this guy a shot. So I understand when you get on the basketball court, your game speaks. But was there any kind of like adversity of just thinking like, oh, these guys may think I don't belong because there's nothing but black guys, or there's nothing but, you know what I mean, guys that are a lot taller than me, a lot more athletic. Like, how'd you find your way and say, this is where I belong, this is where I'm supposed to be?
When I tried out for N1, and mind you, your question didn't offend me at all. It's great. It's so true. When I first went to try out for N1, I was a fan of it, so I knew what an urban street thing it was. I never thought that they would actually accept a white kid from the suburbs like me on the tour or on the team. I didn't even think I belonged in that world. So after trying out and captivating crowds a little bit on the first half of the tour, there was a lot of buzz and quite a bit of pressure. And still me not knowing if I belonged there, I would really just give it my best effort. And, I'm hoping, Lord willing, things can go my way. But what actually gave me the confidence to do it long term was a little battle I had with Hot Sauce at one point.
Okay.
So it was in Detroit. It was halfway through the mixtape tour 2003. He came down and he gave me sort of like a fake and then crossed me over and I slipped. I remember I did the splits and I touched the ground to hold myself up. And then I got up and I tried to recover the shot, but he had already let it go. He hit a three and he fell back. Crowd ran on the floor. It was crazy. Then I had the ball. Very next play, I got the ball, and the opposing coach, he was like, "All right, do your thing, go back at him." And in my mind, I'm like Hot Sauce was one of my favorite players. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do to follow that up? So I think just out of instinct, I hit him with any move I could possibly think. I probably hit him with 6 or 7 moves. And then on the last one, I snatched it back, and then he got crossed over. He kind of turned the other way. And so I went to the basket, and I don't even know how the layup went in. I didn't even look at it, bro. I went to the basket as hard as I could and kind of shot this floater type layup. Went in perfect, but then the crowd went crazy. They all ran on the floor on the rebuttal. So that gave me the confidence, after going back and forth with him and then kind of coming out on top, that gave me the confidence to sort of do this. Or I felt that at least I belonged in the world and it wasn't all just some hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This will be my coming out party as far as having you on the show, man. That's going to be my Portland, Oregon against, the N1 tour that you went on, man. So this is my coming out deal. I know that was your coming out deal. I did some research on that, man. That was incredible. Tell me a little bit about that, man. As far as, did people think you were crazy, thinking that you could even make a team like that when you went out for that tour?
I liked N1. Friends of mine knew that I had sort of a flashy play style. But the truth is, not a lot of people really cared. You know what I mean? So I was going over there to check it out. At the time, I was a JUCO player. I only played a couple minutes a game. That was it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a defensive thing. Coach didn't give me as much opportunity because he figured I wasn't as physical and I was definitely very small.
Sure.
From a defensive standpoint, he had a lot of faith. So I wasn't a highly regarded player. So me going to N1 and trying out or whatever, nobody cared. And there was a tryout. I just decided to give it a shot, and one thing happened to the next, and then next thing I know, it was a career opportunity. But no, definitely no anticipation going up there. People didn't care.
So it wasn't a situation that you had naysayers being the smaller guy. You didn't feel like there was naysayers. It was just you just go out there and do it.
I think so, because I didn't really have I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I mean, I had teammates and a couple friends, but I don't think they weren't as into N1. So only a few guys on my team would have even been familiar with the N1 mixtapes at the time, or the tour, or any of that. And even them, I don't even know if they knew, because mind you, I was only on season 2, so I was the first ever nationwide contest. Season 1 was just about the N1 team.
Yeah.
I don't think they even knew what was going on. So when they had the open tryout, I had played in it the year prior, but it was only about that day. It wasn't about the summer long, hey, you're on the bus, now you're competing for a contract.
Yeah.
So this was really the first year. So, yeah, no, they didn't say I was crazy. They were like, oh, have fun, checking out the game.
Sure.
Not knowing, it was a tryout, a contest and all that.
God, it's crazy. I mean, I've been watching you for a while, man. We're relatively the same age, but I've been watching you for a while, and I'm just happy about the longevity that you've been able to obtain, man, over the years. I mean, just as well as I do, there was a number of people on that tour, and we're not saying a lot of their names now for whatever reason. I'm not trying to speak on their behalf, but here we are, still talking about you to this day. Can you talk a little bit about that, of why the professor is still relevant today?
Well, I mean, first off, praise God, that He allowed that to still be a thing,
Sure.
for my brand to still appeal. But I think if I talk about logistics, it would just be that, a lot of the guys, when I got on the tour, they were 10 years older. So
Yeah.
I was 18. A lot of guys were 28, 29, 30.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so they were closer to my age now when I first met them.
Oh, wow.
So their playing careers came to an end, and a lot of them slid into like coaching or training, stuff like that. But I will say another thing that helped me logistically was that I was always into digital. So I was branding on MySpace back in the day.
Yeah.
And then I got Facebook shortly thereafter. So I started my Facebook page, I think 2004 or 5, and then started YouTube about 2009. So I was always doing it and not even thinking about business. More so, I was thinking about it being marketing, which would lead to business. I never thought the digital itself would be the business. So I would always stay doing stuff just for marketing, because I know that when I would get bookings or get gigs, they would say that they saw a fan-made YouTube video, or they would see some on the internet. So I figured if I had a lot of material out on the internet, then there was a better chance that people would come across stuff and say, hey, I'd like to book you, or we like your work, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. So I think it was age and then digital that helped me, and then just always striving to get better as a basketball player, even though I was getting older.
All right, man. So the main reason why I reached out to you is because you've changed the narrative in the sense of what looks to be successful. Originally, it's always been Division I or NBA/MBA. And if you don't do one of those things, then your career is over. You suck. There's nothing to talk about. But what you've done that has been so creative is you've been able to adapt and be able to continue to grow as a basketball player, and you didn't fit into one of those spots that the narrative was normally speaking towards, as far as Division I and the NBA. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you transitioned and kind of made your own lane?
Well, yeah, I think that you're right. That was always the case, but I think obviously And One provided that opportunity to where they had the ESPN TV show. So that was big in providing a new lane. Now, that wasn't a new lane for the max. Obviously, we only had like 16 or 17 guys on the N1 team. But it definitely provided a new lane. And then I think the fact that, like you said, the digital thing was around. So that provided opportunity for there to be a lane for viewership. And I think what I knew is, and I see there were certain guys that were in streetball that didn't understand this as well. But what I always knew is, at the end of the day, when people watch basketball, they love highlights. You know what I mean? They're always going to be drawn to the crazy dunk, the ankle breaker, or whatever. And that has never gone out of style as long as basketball's been around.
Sure.
There's a hot play in basketball. It's always appealing as long as people like the sport. So when I hit the court, I'm always mindful of that. So I'm trying to do that almost every other play because I know that I wouldn't have a lane if I just played serious pro-am basketball and was really about trying to win tournaments or summer championships or just win games that I play in. It wouldn't really be appealing because at the end of the day, I have to have something to compete with Division I, NCAA, or the NBA, or whatever's entertaining in basketball. And so my niche is trying to be like the most entertaining form of basketball that they just know to be instant highlights if they tune in. Yeah. So I always kept that in mind.
Again, I've been looking at a lot of your interviews, man. One interview was alarming to me. I don't know if it was true or not, but I wanted to ask you, and that was coming in high school as a freshman. I think they said you were just shy of 100 pounds and about 4'11", scrawny kid. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and just how you had the nerve or audacity to feel like you were going to play basketball at that size?
4'11", 85 pounds.
Wow.
Just shy of 100, but no, I mean, I think, ever since I started playing the game when I was 2 years old. Pops put the basketball in my hands that young, and then I knew it was a passion by the time I was in 5th grade. And the reason I had the audacity to keep doing it was because I loved it. I wouldn't pick anything to do for fun rather than just go play ball. Number one, but then number two, I was always an elite player. Funny enough, I didn't get a lot of opportunity, but I was always an elite player. So like even in 5th grade, I was the starter on my team. 6th, 7th, 8th, I play always on the A team, the most elite local team. And then coming into high school, I just still was so short, but I still had a lot of handle or whatever. When my opportunities didn't come as I got older, it was because it was a defensive thing. I was very scared of contact. I was always shy away from the contact. But you can get away from, 7th, 8th, freshman, you can get away with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you got to be a junior in high school, it was a held back with JV, and very little opportunity passed out. It was because of the defensive thing. So why did I stick with it? Just because I loved it and I had a track record of success.
What kind of advice would you give guys that were about your same size or just undersized basketball players that want to make a real impact, whether that be in high school and college? What kind of advice would you give them?
I would say, number one, to know that your outcome or how far you go in the game is not going to be dictated by your size. It's going to be dictated on your skill level and what kind of value you bring to a team.
Yeah.
So a lot of parents, a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh, my son's he can't make it because he's too small." Mm-hmm. It's like, no, freaking Earl Boykins in the NBA, Muggsy Bogues in the NBA. So it's not size. We know that. You know what I'm saying? He maybe wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say just know that your size is not going to dictate your long-term outcome. It's going to be your skill level, your work ethic, and what kind of value you bring to the team. And then I would say that to make up for your size, one thing that's really going to come into play that I didn't learn until long-term is that from a defensive standpoint, you're still going to have to be a threat at that size. But the way to do that is not through equaling physicality. It's through like being a pest, getting into passing lanes, making up for your lack of size, in different areas on defense.
Yeah.
So I'll probably give those 2 points. That's why I most often find myself telling parents or smaller kids.
Basketball, a lot of times, or just sports in general, is just decided off wins and losses. And for me, I feel like there's so much more that you can pull from the game of basketball other than just a win and loss. Granted, you want to win, but there's so many things like, working with others, getting up early, staying late, having a strategic plan. Like these guys, when they're walking away from basketball and they feel like I'm not equipped because I don't have the basketball in my hand, I kind of beg to differ with that, man. And I've seen some of your interviews and you were talking about using the game of basketball as a tool. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you can use the game as a tool to kind of navigate beyond the game of basketball?
Man, totally. And I never even thought about that growing up, playing the game so much. I never thought about what it taught me, but I learned in retrospect what it did teach me, which was, like you said, it taught you how to work well with others. It taught you how to respect authority, from coaches. Teach you about work ethic.
Sure.
Your game's only going to give you what you give it. You know what I mean? As far as work, dedication, all that. It taught me to persevere. Preparation, being prepared for certain things, humility, you know what I mean? I can't tell you how many times I've been arrogant on the court and got humbled, somehow, somewhere or another. I'm still learning about, ways to handle myself from a character standpoint of sportsmanship. So I think that goes hand in hand with, just adversity of life. You can learn how to handle your loads, you know what I mean? Or your trials, whatever. And then, how do you handle being on top too? I think in life also we can have great things happen to us. Our character can be good based on those great things, but I think there's a proper way to handle that and an improper way that you can learn from the game as well. So that's what comes to mind right now. I'm sure there's a bunch more that you can learn and things that I do draw from the game, but yeah, a lot of life lessons.
Yeah. From my perspective, man, I've been working at college universities for the past 7 years, and I work with student athletes as well. And I look at it like it's an internship, man. I feel like, in my humble opinion, I feel like student athletes especially are the most battle-tested students when they come out the ranks, whether that be in junior college, whether that be in college, university level, or even in high school. It's just my opinion that they're not being empowered and thinking that. They feel like, okay, well, I'm not playing football, I'm not playing basketball, well, I got to start scratch. But even if you think about, like being able to take ridicule and still stay focused on the target, like that's not something a lot of people are able to do. So just kind of reiterating what you've already said, man. So one big question I know you get a lot, man, is how would you get your handle so tight? Give us a little idea of the regimen you put yourself in at an early age to develop the handle that you have right now.
Hey, man, I actually was blessed to have a trainer that I worked with when I was in 5th grade.
Oh, wow.
And he sort of planted the foundation for all my ball handling. First move he ever taught me was an in and out. Second move, in and out crossover. Eventually, Allen Iverson crossover. And I think God gave me the gift to be able to emulate things certain well. So he would demonstrate the footwork and do it. And for some reason, I could emulate it really well just like that. And so But that didn't come by not a lot of hard work and dedication, and a lot of repetition through that. So so what I did was I made a ball handling program that all kids could buy, and it's just strictly on digital, superhumandribbling.com, and we'll do launches like every 3 or 4 months, and there'll be exclusive numbers of buy-ins, but kids can literally buy the program and they can watch it on their phone and do it at the court. So we're trying to make it mobile, we try to make it all digital and easy as possible to do. So you literally can just buy a login, you go to database, login, boom, 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 and we give you a workout every other day for like a month. And basically, I did Superhuman Dribbling Volume 1, which showed the exact drills and workouts I did. Like, I went back with my trainer, and he actually helped me write it because I couldn't actually remember. And then we did the Got Handle system, which was giving them new moves, some other tips and drills. And then this summer we're actually going to do a vertical jump program, but that's something different. But yeah, so my digital programs are basically the way I try to help this generation.
I like that, man, because it seems like with your program, it talks about consistency, it talks about creativity, and it actually presents itself in a way that's manageable to people that are serious about getting better at dribbling. Whereas some other programs, they're sometimes presented like it's a magic pill. Like, all I have to do is drink this pill or swallow this pill, and I'll have handles like such and such. But I like the way you said how consistent you are as far as every other day, and really understanding that it takes work. Another thing I want to talk to you about is, in the interview I heard you talk a lot about the fundamentals, mastering the fundamentals. And some people may think that's out of the ordinary because a lot of your moves are trick moves or whatnot, but you have a love for fundamentals. Can you talk just a little bit about the fundamentals?
So one thing that I learned over time, and I actually learned from Skip Malou, who's kind of like the pioneer of the whole and one streetball movement, right? At least on a nationwide standpoint or worldwide standpoint. So what he always told me, and I know this rings so true, is that the more fundamental, like the better basketball player you are fundamentally, the easier it is to actually put on a show. And I found that so true, because it's like I can learn how to go between the legs, and I can learn how to cross you over and shake you, or even simple stuff as far as like go off your head or do stuff and beat you. But say if you strip the fundamentals from a person and they just did that, it wouldn't even look right. Because in order to be able to do that in rhythm and have that stuff actually lead to a basket, and to move and to look like a ball player and have it actually be effective, you need all the fundamentals. And that's something that I always did, because I was raised playing fundamental basketball. You know what I mean? I played every age, every step of the way, from JUCO to semi-pro and IBL to the CBA, the old D League, and that was my thing, was regular ball. When I started becoming a fan of N1, I started adding other things. And when I got on the mixtape tour, I was shocked at what good basketball players everybody was. You know what I mean? Like you said, you're familiar with AO. He has a plaque at the school you were, it's because he was a beast. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if AO, he was right, a couple steps from the league. You know what I mean? Rayford Alston played in the league for, I think, 10 plus years. So guys could really play basketball. And what I try to tell the generation, if they are into the boots, is that like my b-ball programs, they stress fundamentals, even though they'll teach you how to cross over this, that, and the other. That's really the foundation of everything.
Yeah. And where can we find that program again? You told us it before, but where can we find that program?
Go to superhumandribbling.com and just enter your email, sign up, and then stuff will be coming your way, updating them on the launches. Okay.
You mentioned something about work ethic versus heart. I thought that was amazing, man, when you broke that down from work ethic to heart. And then you took it a step further and talking about it's okay to fail. Can you speak on that a little bit about what you meant about that?
Well, when I said it's okay to fail, I really was just saying that, especially like when you practice, you're going to mess up plenty of times. So in the practice space, I'll work with kids sometimes, whether that's individual training or like at a clinic. People get really frustrated when they can't get something down. Yeah. But I always say, like, this is the environment where it's okay to mess up. You just want to make sure that you're having good form and sort of getting the feel for things, and then eventually you can work your way up to mastering something. Because oftentimes, like even myself, I've been victim to it growing up. Like, you get so pissed off at something that you don't really make progress. You just need to stay focused on trying to progress each time. I think it's more important than actually, getting tied up over the failure and the frustration of that. Yeah. And so that was one aspect from the from the practice aspect.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't even get the clinics if you already had a master's, so you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
But then the other aspect was in the game. You know, I think that you should approach things fearlessly, and I think in your mind you should have the confidence that you're gonna succeed. But if you do fail, I think it's good to be mindful that everybody fails at some point. You know, the most elite players in the world have times where they miss the game-winning shot, or they make a dumb mistake in the end of the game and turn the ball over, or at some point in their career they were on the bottom. Yeah. So I think it's important to know that when you do fail, it's not going to feel good, of course, and you should strive to want to do better. But I think also you should know that oftentimes we fail, like you're not alone. We feel like we're alone when we fail. Like, everybody else in the game, I can't even hit some free throws to win. Yeah. Now knowing that LeBron James missed some free throws to win a game, you know? Yeah. Michael Jordan, Kobe, they all did. You know what I mean? Or somebody scores 30 on you. Now knowing that, you know, every elite player has got somebody busted their butt somewhere, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to be mindful that people do fail, and especially like from a practice standpoint, you fail, you can't get tied over the frustration over that.
I'm amazed at the faith that you had to have throughout this process. I mean, when you look at the trajectory of your career, man, being that scrawny guy that didn't get very much playing time, going to JUCO, not getting very much playing time, to see where you're at right now, throughout that process, was it just your mindset that you were saying, no, I am good, or did you have somebody that was kind of helping you out, just saying, listen, you got this? Both.
So I always thought I was going to make the NBA no matter what.
Yeah.
When I was on JV as a junior, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to make the NBA. I was very confident, and you know, I don't know if I even literally thought I was going to make the NBA, or if it was just something I said for so long and something I knew that I had to strive for. That was kind of my mindset. But one thing that helped me was just my passion for the game. So it was always fun no matter what. So even if I failed and I was bummed out about something, I could always go back to the local gym the next day or 2 days later, get in some good run, and then do well and succeed, and then have fun again with the game. So I think the passion is all what got me through the highs and the lows, especially the lows. And then I think also I did have those people in my life that were very encouraging. My dad, number one, he was always my biggest encourager all through my career. And then my trainer, who I started working with in 5th grade. And then there was a lot of people at the local gym who really supported me, whether they were elders or peers or whatever. A lot of people liked my play style, and they would always be very encouraging. So I think it was a combination of both. So that shows that, you know, mentorship and all that stuff is very important. And then if you love it, you know, you'll stick with it.
Any advice for those that are finding themselves not getting playing time? Any advice for those that are finding themselves that, you know what, they're not going to the NBA? How do they make that transition?
A kid that says, I'm not getting enough playing time, or my coach is hating on me, the situation is good, the politics, I would say don't blame this, whatever that is. Whatever that is you're blaming, like, don't blame that. Like, take some accountability, and I would say still stick with it. Give the best effort you can, and at the end of the day, you know, things are in God's hands. Whether it's politics blocking you, whether it's the coach hating on you, this, that, and the other. I would say those things never really stopped anybody from making the NBA. Yeah. I would say if you were good enough, politics wouldn't get in your way. I don't think. If you're overwhelmingly good enough to play college basketball at Division I and go to the NBA, I don't see politics get in your way in high school. I don't see that.
Yeah.
So I would say don't place blame, because I don't think it's due there. And then I would say, you know, stick with it if that's your passion. Just stick with it and try to get the best effort you can within that situation. For the person that's not going to make the NBA and has to come to grips that, hey, basketball wasn't for me, I would say I would first evaluate, well, how close are we actually? You know what I mean? If we're far from it, I would say, hey, embrace it. You know, pro basketball is not, there's only for a low percentage. You look at how many people play basketball in the world, I would say there's only like 2 or 3% that are actually playing for a living. So it's not like you're alone there. There's nothing wrong with going to get a job or going to a different field. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just say to feel okay with that. Don't feel like failure for life didn't make the NBA or D1. I know some people who did that. They hang on to it for a long time, and it's like their identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I recently heard this was good. It said, when bad things happen to you, you can let it do 3 things. You can let it destroy you, you can let it define you, or you can let it develop you.
Wow.
So I would tell those people, let it develop you as opposed to destroy you, define you.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, If you had that mentality that you let it destroy you, you wouldn't be in the position that you're in right now. You would have just hung it up and, you know, been doing something you're less passionate about, really.
Totally, man. So, and I even had, you know, a lot of people don't know, I had games like when I played for Amwon where I didn't do anything, or I even got busted up, somebody killed me.
Yeah.
Playing, you know, there was even down moments in my pro career where I sometimes, you know, for a moment I questioned, man, am I supposed to be doing this, you know?
Yeah.
But it was always the passion that kept me to go with it. And like you said, just try to let it develop me to get better for the next go round.
Kind of going back to what you said earlier, as far as not getting stuck on one play, that's applicable in life, man. That goes back to that internship we talked about earlier. The things that you learned as a student athlete. Man, you ain't got time to be worried about the last play that you made a turnover. You got to make sure you hit the ground and run on the next play to make up for it. And, you know, that helps you in life, not only in the game of basketball.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
No question.
Were you an academically sound guy, or were you just strictly just basketball growing up?
The crazy thing was, like, my parents, they pushed me, but no, I wasn't academically sound at all. Sometimes at one point, I had to even, like, ask God, like, dang, like, why are you letting me play pro basketball all my life? I didn't even pay no attention to studies.
Yeah.
But the hard part with that is, like, I graduated with a 2.7. I think in college I had a 2.8 or something like that. The reason I didn't was that I didn't apply myself. I just think about basketball 24/7 and other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I would always encourage education. I still do, and I had to kind of figure this out because a lot of people would ask me to go preach education, and I'm like, damn, well, I didn't do my studies right, and I ended up making it. But the truth is, that's very, very few people. I know that if a few events didn't go down in my life that really I couldn't even duplicate, I wouldn't have ended up playing professionally as a living. So I would have had to fall back on something, and that something would have been no education. I had to go back and get a degree and really lock in and key in.
Yeah.
So I consider myself in a 1 percentile category that didn't apply himself to studies, but ended up making it, you know, and dropped out of college and stuff like that. So I would always push education because at the end of the day, you know, coming out of college, most of the time there's not going to be a job on the table for people, and your first credential or thing that's gonna label you will be your education.
Absolutely.
You know, when you apply for a job. So I stress education heavily. I wish even when I was there I would have been more focused, because I like to learn a lot more now in my adult life than I did then. I did value it. Even now, for me, like now, if I did have a degree, that would hold some stronger weight than it would now not having a degree, from a business standpoint or whatever that was. So I always preach education first, even though I went through my whole life, my whole schooling career definitely half-assed.
I think that the reason you're saying that, and correct me if I'm wrong, man, but I wasn't the person that was big on education as well. You know, I probably did worse than you in the classroom, man. I failed the 6th grade. I got socially promoted from the 8th to the 9th grade, special education classes. But I started playing basketball my 9th grade year, and that's when I locked in, because I said, you know what, I got to make sure I stay on this basketball team. But it's funny.
Glad there's no judgment over here.
not at all, man. I work at a university. I have a master's now, and I'm still saying, like, I wish I would have did that, what you said you did. Well, you wish you would have done. But I bring that up because now as a businessman, now as a brand, you realize that in large, the only way you're staying afloat, short of God, of course, is your ability to learn and educate yourself about certain trends, business acumens, like all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of funny to me that we weren't studious kids back in the day, but now we're reading and now we're actually learning a lot more than they did as a kid. Isn't that kind of funny?
Yeah, it's crazy how it goes about, but I guess there's some getting older and wiser.
Yeah, I just finished Shannon Bobbitt's book, man. Just trying to read as much as I can as far as learning more about different players and whatnot. But again, man, I want to thank you, and I tell you, I appreciate you, man, because like I said, it was a Hail Mary shot just from half court for me to even get this opportunity. So I'm glad that you guys helped me out. So there you have it. We spent some time with the professor today. He dropped a lot of good gems as far as how you can be a better basketball player and being smaller at that size. Plus, he dropped some gems as far as how you can connect with him and his dribbling online program that he has. Make sure you go check that out. Want to go ahead and kick it back to you for any last comments that you may have.
I would say, first off, likewise, thank you for the opportunity, man. Glad I could help any type of way. Appreciate you taking the time and having me on. If I was to give the kids any advice for school or even the game, I would just say, remember, the game will only give you what you give it, and same with the classroom. The classroom is only going to give you what you give it. So I say, be mindful that the work ethic is important, and I definitely believe in the statement, when preparation meets opportunity, then success can come about. So you got to put in that preparation. The opportunity comes, you can succeed. So if I were to give any just quick line of advice to kids or hoopers or anybody out there, it'd be that. Remember, graduate at the top of your class. Hoop Lottie.